My name is Nguyen Thanh Mai, and I'm from the Dewey Schools. And my speech will start now. Dr. Guy McPherson once said, if you really think the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count the money. Well, you can't do that, right? You have to take a breath somewhere in the middle of that process. And if the air around you is polluted and toxic, then breathing in is going to put your health in danger. Nowadays, as we can see, right, although the economic development of country is extremely important, I believe that sustainability, environmental sustainability is something that is equally important or much more important than that topic. It's something that all countries should focus on. Nowadays, climate change is something that impacts every one of us. And unfortunately, the ones that have been hit hardest by this problem a lot of them are the least developed countries, or the LDCs. In my speech, I'd like to propose a few ideas on how the governments of these countries can write the policy so that they can benefit both economically and sustainability. Now, when you're writing policies for least developed countries, right, we need to focus on the problem that each country is having the most. Because if you don't have a specific topic that your country needs to address, then it's not like you're going to solve anything at all, right? And from my research, I've learned that two main problems that LDCs have economically are, firstly, is low social and human development, and secondly, is low per capita income. So these are the two problems I think all LDCs in some way they're going to try to address, and obviously they're going to have to implement a part of it, part of those policies related to the environment. I believe that furthermore, government officials should also start visiting different workplaces regularly, like factories, tech companies, offices, etc., to see how these countries how these companies are going with the new policies. What further assistance do they need in order to further boost their productivity or their potential to have a lot more profit and help the economy develop? One method I've seen going around a lot nowadays in the world is corporate social responsibility, or CSR. It's basically like an international code of conduct for companies, and it ranges from topics like, human rights to things like social equity. And I think it's a really great idea and something that LDC should definitely look into implementing, because firstly, it implements a lot of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, such as SDG 5, SDG 8, SDG 10, or SDG 12. It basically implements a lot of them. So I think it will be quite effective on helping them achieve these SDGs in 2030. The second reason why I think it's really helpful for them is because of how well known this method is. It's being used all over the world. So whenever they're needing help or assistance with implementing such a method, they're going to be able to ask countries that have made it work, countries like the United States or Canada or France, countries that have been able to make CSR work, and they're going to be able to learn from those countries, and they're going to hopefully make CSR work in their own country. I think through this method, we can promote three main things, right? Firstly is economic development. Secondly is environmental sustainability. And third of all is global collaboration, which is something that I believe is a really positive thing that the world is definitely working towards right now, especially in the time of the coronavirus pandemic. So as you can see, LDCs are obviously the ones that are in most need of assistance in today's world. And I believe that in my speech, I think the solutions and also the policies that I've stated in my speech could be effective enough to help them solve the problems that they're having right now, and hopefully help them develop and thrive even further in the future. However, being the least developed countries, being the ones that are most behind in this race, in this development race that our world is all together in right now, right? I think they're going to need more than just good policies. They're going to need help from other countries too, like I stated previously. They're going to need help from developed countries, countries that have had a sustainable environment, countries that have a developed economy. And together, we need to be able to pull the ones that are behind forward. Only then can we strive towards innovation and prosperity. Thank you for listening.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your wonderful speech. I really like the part where you mentioned about the CSR and the portion where a lot of entities have to work together and cooperate. And just one additional comment that I would like to make on the CSR part is that above CSR now, the companies are now talking about ESG, which is environment, social, and governance. So I guess if you take a moment to take a research on what ESG is, I think this will be a helpful, I guess, tool for you to understand further. And the question that I wanted to ask is, you've mentioned that the developed countries need to support the least developed countries in terms of providing technologies and the concept itself. But these technologies and the materials that the developed countries have is not for free. So in terms of providing those support, what are the benefits? Well, what are the gains that the developed countries can gain through these support?
Well, I think that if they're going to help these countries, then obviously, as you said, right, they cannot be for free. They're not just going to help for nothing. And I think that it's going to help. They're going to help each other in a way. And first of all, they're going to. I think it's going to help in two ways, I guess. First of all, I think they're going to be able to help each other in things like emergencies or whenever. I think that if the LDCs are helped nowadays and they're going to be able to develop themselves and hopefully become somewhat of a developed country in the future, then I think then they're kind of almost equal to those countries that have helped them. So now they're like basically the same level as each other, so they can help each other a lot more often whenever the other countries need help. So I think that is one of the ways that developed countries is going to get like a return for what they've helped the LDCs for.
Yep, thank you very much.